Hello again and welcome to another bearing removal and replacement video featuring Boca bearings. Now today's engine is a 46 size two-stroke engine of a very lesser known brand called an Aviastar. Now these engines had a very short lifespan from about year 2000 to 2010 from what I could find on the internet, and they were produced by a company out of Hong Kong called Aviatronics Limited. In my opinion, even though these are Chinese-made engines, they're very, very high-quality engines. So, what I want to do is I want to show you some of the interesting features of these engines, and then we'll go on and do the bearing removal and replacement. Okay, so here on the table I've got the majority of this Aviastar 46 engine. Now it doesn't have any screws in it because it's been pretty much disassembled already. But this is actually a new engine. It's been only run a few times. I picked this up at a swap meet for a really incredible price. And I've had one of these brand engines before. It was a few years ago, and it was a 150 size engine, and it was just a really, really awesome engine. Now the reason I'm replacing bearings in an engine that's new is because there isn't a listing on Boca's website for this engine brand or this size. So I began the disassembly and I got it to the point where I could read the bearing number on the front bearing, but I'm going to have to try to make a guess at the size of the rear bearing, which is what I did. So I used my guess for this bearing size and this, and was looking on Boca's website trying to find a kit number that had those two bearings, and it turns out that I think I'm correct. We'll find out here soon. That this is a fairly common set for several different Chinese brand engines, like some GMS's, some other engine brands. So I'm hoping that I guessed correctly, but I wanted to show you there are some interesting features about this engine. Like, first of all, this head is really deeply reset. It's got a deep inset and a very small combustion chamber at the top. And I thought this was nice because you don't seldom do you ever see a head or the sleeve that's recessed like that, and this thing just slides right out. I mean, this is a true ABC metallurgy engine. Yeah, very, very, what I believe is a very high quality engine. Now, here is the rear cover that just came off. Here's another part of the engine that I think is really interesting. I love it when an engine manufacturer puts an O-ring seal on here. Now I've seen this a lot on Super Tiger engines, but seldom on too many other engines. But that's always nice. I mean, look at the beauty of this. And we'll take a closer look at this connecting rod once I get it out. The only drawback I've seen to this, well, here's the piston. Just absolutely spectacular. Just beautiful. The only drawback I've seen, I've run this engine twice, the only drawback I've seen in this engine is really the carburetor. Now, it's a beautiful looking carburetor, but it just didn't seem like it had the instantaneous transition that I've seen in many other two-stroke engines. But all in all, this is really not a bad engine, and I think it's a high quality, at least the internal components. And it has this really strange looking exhaust, so if you're ever looking for a used one, look for one of these exhausts and you'll know that you've got an Aviastar engine, because that's their logo. So with all that said, let me go ahead and move some of these parts out of the way, and we'll get these bearings out and replaced and see if I guessed right with the size of this rear bearing. Okay, so as I said, I've only run this engine two times, two break-in runs, and it ran really nice, and I believe it's well on its way to being broken in. I'm going to go ahead and pull the sleeve out. I left that in by accident. Probably wouldn't be in the way, but we'll take it out anyway. So because of the condition of this engine, I'm not entirely sure it's really going to need a whole lot of heat, but I'm going to heat it up a little bit anyway, just to make sure that things come out easily. The only oil that's been in this engine is the residual oil from the runs that I made on it. Alright, that should be enough. So as I said, I could read the bearing number on the front, which is a MR698 bearing. The rear bearing I'm guessing at, and I'm guessing that it's an MR6902. And it came off with the crankshaft, which is good because, see, the thing is I'm not going to be able to read any numbers on it because they're open shielded bearings. But I mean, this bearing obviously doesn't, oh, wait a minute, I can't see here. Ah, looks like 6902. I'd have to get my magnifier out there, but hopefully we're correct. It says China on the outer race, and I believe it's 4 digits. I believe that says 6902. So that's ideal. So then I'll be able to have Boca add this kit number for this particular engine, because even though it had a limited lifespan, there are still engines out there that probably are in need of having the bearings replaced, and knowing exactly the kit to get to replace them would be a really nice thing to have. So there you have it. I mean, very simple. There's that 698Z bearing. Just exactly as I would install it. You got the open shield, or opened in on one and the shielded in on the other. So with that being so simple, let's go straight into, I don't think there's any reason to do any kind of cleaning here at all. We can go straight into the bearing installation portion of this video. So what I've got here is like I said, is a kit. I sat and looked around on bearing or Boca's site for a kit that had the same 2 bearings here. I was guessing at this one, and this kit number is an ENK-094. So let's pull these bearings out, and here's our new 698 and our new 6902. I want to pull that out and just kind of place it up against the other one, make sure that they are the same, because there are a lot of two-stroke engines in this size frame. A lot of them will have an R6 front bearing. A lot of them have that 6902, but I have seen a few that have slightly different size bearings. So let's just do a little comparison here. I know this is not, I'm not using my calipers, but I can pretty much tell. That looks like that's going to be a direct drop-in replacement. So I think we've got a good kit number for this bearing, or for this engine. Let's just go ahead and remove one of the shields. Okay, both shields have oh, this one I can't remove like that. This one has got a small, this has got a clip style on it, so I'm going to have to pop this clip up. I can't just take that shield out like I was going to. Getting these clips off can be a little bit more challenging because they're smaller, but I think I've got it coming up there. So there we go. There's that clip. So it's a C-clip style shield on this one. Normally you can just kind of tap that, or maybe pull that out with a magnet like I just did. So this one could theoretically be resealed. It's a serviceable bearing. Could be serviced, greased up, put back in service. So let me move that T-pin out of here. This is a conventional ZZ shield, which means one of them gets destructively removed. Oh, actually both of them on this bearing are going to get removed. Alright, so now the proof will be in the pudding of whether or not these actually go in place here. So I'm just going to kind of, it's pretty dry in there. I'm going to have to grab my Road Power Lightning Lube that I've got in a container here. That is my standard lubrication for reinstalling bearings. Now, as you saw, that rear bearing just went straight on there easily. I think this housing seems kind of dry. For the 2 runs I put on it, I'm kind of surprised there wasn't a little bit more oil left in there. We'll get it oiled up here real good. Alright, so this thing is ready to have these new bearings installed. So I'm probably going to heat this up just a little bit, and we'll get these bearings done. and we'll get a kit number added to Boca's website. Those two bearings off. That's in place. Now let's see, I need to align my hole here so I can drop that crankshaft in there. It didn't really seem to heat this engine up too much. It's a little warm, but we'll see what happens here. It should just go right into place. Get my awl out here. Well, that didn't feel bad. It felt perfect. So I guess I guessed right on that rear bearing size, so that's a good thing, because otherwise we would have known right away. So even though this engine didn't need new bearings, it has new bearings, and I'll just put these in the box with the engine in case I ever need to replace them again. So that concludes our bearing removal and installation video for today, and now we can get a new kit number added to Boca's website.